I just had to get that in because he told that story, and he's got a picture if you want to see it. I don't know if he wants too many people to see it, but it shows him previously his weight situation. What a blessing. Well, you know, a lot of times we come and talk to the Lord, and we're always asking for things, asking. Don't you think the Lord likes it when we just come to talk? Just talk, have a conversation. Not that he gets tired of answering, but this song is, I just came to talk with you, Lord. Thank you. I have a request to do a second song, so.
that he does concerts with, and I mean, it's amazing, it's beautiful. So I want to just sit there and just listen to this. I don't want to work. Anyway, I had a question from somebody last night, and excuse me if I can't remember who, but you asked me about the 2 states where they do not accept the program. Are you here? It was you. Okay. I called the Black Hills last night, and I talked to Brenda Trace. Her and her husband are the ones who teach that. Nebraska is a state that wants something a little different, but if you get your license in South Dakota, they will transfer your license to Nebraska. So basically, that's not a problem. The other one is New York. And New York is just so restricted on everything. Now, it's not that you can't come there and take the program, but you would have to go to New York then or some other place to get the additional 350 hours plus and plus and plus and plus, because for some reason the laws in New York are just crazy. So if that helps you or answered your question, that's it. So it can be done for all states, but there's a different process, especially for New York. Was there any questions from yesterday before we get started? No? Great. Today I am making you a cauliflower burger. And you know, there's been this big hype with all the cauliflower because of what diet? Keto. And what is the keto diet? It's a new Atkins diet. And Atkins died young. All the fat you want, all the protein, very, very limited fruit and no grains if possible. And if you do eat some fruit, it's different types. My son and his wife went on that diet, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, please not. I didn't say anything, though. I said, you know, you can't stay on this diet, and there's a reason for that. If you were to continue on the keto diet, you would literally destroy your liver. It will kill you. You have to get off of it because your body goes into a state of ketosis, meaning it's almost like you're starving your body because you're eliminating your complex carbohydrates, and the body needs the carbohydrates. And so you have to go off of it after a period of so many weeks to rest the liver to where you can go back on it again and start the starving process to the body. Does that sound like a healthy diet to you? No, it doesn't to me either. But one thing it did for the cauliflower industry is instead of getting $1 for a head of cauliflower, now they can get between $3 and $5. It is true. Depending on how popular it is, sets the course to how much they can charge you. So the cauliflower industry hasn't changed any. It's just because people started using it in recipes because cauliflower is among the good keto food. So it just rapidly went up. And I have literally been in some towns where tiny little heads of cauliflower are like $4. It's tragic. Anyway, so I am going to make for you. Now I have to put this aside because it has what we're going to make for our cheese sauce. But I'm going to use, which used to be one-legged, now is 0 legs. I broke its legs off completely. And I don't use oil, so I do need a little bit of water in here. And that's just to keep it from sticking because this is stainless. This is not a Teflon pan. And I already cleaned the cauliflower. You don't have to cut it in as small pieces as I do, but I like to have that rice-like texture, and I want it consistent if I can possibly do that. So this was 2 heads of cauliflower. Did I hit the cauliflower jackpot? All that was 2 heads. 2 heads. And I cut off as much of the stem as I possibly could. Now this is a hard one to make, y'all. Bloods went to, are you allowed to do what? I thought he was coming over to get a taste already. I'm like, yes, he's given me some peppermint to get rid of the flies. Thank you, sir. Woo, that's a lot, baby. Oh, I can smell this. It deters them, we can tell you that. They don't like the smell of it, or eucalyptus, or tea tree. They just don't like the smell of it. I'm bumping this a little bit so I can get, see, I still have a piece in there that's a little hard, but for most part. So this is what most people call, I don't want to set that there, cauliflower rice, right? And so if you go to the grocery store and you buy cauliflower rice, now you're paying about $7 or $8. It's not that hard to do. Remember the first day when we talked about don't bring your dirty food home but put it in your clean refrigerator? Clean your food, and then when you go to use it, it's simple. I like to take cauliflower, and when I steam my potatoes for mashed potatoes, I steam cauliflower too. It makes it real creamy. So I use it in my mashed potatoes. Ah, got one hiding. You guys can't hear it, but I can already hear it over here. Now, I use this for anything that I need a burger, like a hamburger. If I'm making tacos, if I'm making enchiladas, if I'm making spaghetti and meat sauce, okay? I like to eat it just plain, just nothing but maybe just a little lettuce and salsa. I do that all the time. This processor is probably 12 years old. She is beat up, but she is so good. I know it, and they don't make them like this anymore. The new ones, you have to twist on the top, and I've had people say, oh, that's getting so old, I can't believe you still have it. And I'm like, I can't find one like it. When I cook for 3ABN or somebody and I'm doing mass production, I do nothing any different when I do now. I just clean it all and start cooking. Now, you will not be cooking for this many people, but you can always cook this and freeze it, right? When I went, yes, ma'am? Yes. This last year? 2 years. Last year is the first year that I provided food for ASI. And when it comes to the food and the times they serve, we eat a little differently. So I eat my food in my room. I choose not to eat in the main, like the dining rooms that they provide there. And one of the reasons for that is the type of food that they cook. All right? So I'm gluten-free, and I don't eat them. And we don't provide my recipes to everybody until Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So I'm there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, So I have to get my own food, or I have to eat out somewhere. Yes, we have other meetings going on, and so I'm there, and not all of those are plant-based. Oh, he's got a microphone. Okay. Yes. I think this is 11. Probably closer to 4.5. That is walnuts. I'm so sorry. That is walnuts. And all I do is mix walnuts with cauliflower. And you're more than welcome. If you guys can't see it and you want to come up here and look at the texture of it, just help yourself. There's, huh? It's a coming. I thought about you when I put that serrano in my beans today. I thought, yeah, I'm not going to get by without cooking something in that. All right. Garlic, onion. I'm sauteing it. I did use water to get it started, but there's a lot of water in cauliflower, so this is going to dissipate. It's not going to be as much as you see now. That's why I use so much. But I want to season it. I like to season my food while it's cooking to actually be richer. So I'm going to add about a tablespoon of onion powder. Remember, I've got 2 big heads in here. And I'm going to put just a little less in garlic. This is smoked paprika. I want to add a little smoked paprika, probably about a teaspoon of the smoked paprika. This is a blend that I really like. I'm a frequent at Home Goods or something like TJ Maxx, because they have a lot of these really neat, unique spices, and you don't find where it says natural flavorings. They're pretty much, you know, what's on the label, and that's it. So I'm going to add just probably about a tablespoon of that. We can add more later. I'll add, This is a smoked paprika, garlic, chili, chives blend. So it's more of a chili blend, more of a chili blend. And I'm going to just start letting this cook. I don't want to do a thing to it, but stir it periodically, and hopefully it'll be done. Yeah, you can come up here and take it's like granulated burger. Now, if I wanted to make a patty out of this, I just have to give it something to hold it together, like oatmeal, quinoa that's already cooked, something. But I can make a patty out of this if I wanted to. So I could cook it, freeze it, bring it out, add some ingredients to it, and make a patty. Yes, you can. But this is just a granulated burger. And when my kids come over that are not vegan, they love this burger. All right, so there's a lot going on in there. We're going to leave that alone. And I've got a cauliflower mess here, but that's okay. Now, I'm going to undo this one. Hang on a minute. I've got to change out plugs here. I don't need that one anymore. This one is noisy, and I must apologize. Vitamixes are terribly noisy, but they're awful powerful. So I love a Vitamix. Now, recently, I wanted to try to make a cheesy sauce that was a little different. I know you guys have seen a million cheese sauce recipes. Everybody has their version. I have several myself. My favorite is when I use potatoes. And in this one, I had leftover food in the refrigerator. And I try to use my food the best I can. So if I look in the refrigerator, even though I might say, oh, tonight's a burger and air fry night for French fries, no, I've got a lot of this and I might lose it. So I'm going to switch gears and try to find something I can cook. And that's what I did here. In this skillet looks like a stew, or my steamer. It literally looks like a stew. There are sweet potatoes. There are, and I forgot my carrots. I forgot my carrots, honey. Anyway, we just won't have as yellow cheese sauce. I have my red potatoes. I have my yellow potatoes. I have my onion over here, and I have my celery. This is going to add an amazing flavor to your sauce. And normally I have a big wad of carrots in there. Or I have a fresh red bell pepper. Or I have a roasted red bell pepper. And sometimes I use no yellow coloring of any food at all. None. A sweet potato, I love the taste of a sweet potato. It gives it just a little bit of sweetness. And my hands are clean. I'm going to throw in, that looks to be about half cup. I'm going to grab some of these. You see how precise I am. I'm going to use probably about a cup of potatoes, and I'm going to grab these sweet potatoes in there. And you're probably thinking, well, what else are you going to put in there? Huh? Yes, they've all been steamed. That's why they're in the steamer. They've all been steamed. The Vitamix will cook it, but when you take potatoes that are raw in the Vitamix, what happens to them? No, it's all the starch. They become real starchy, gelatinous-like. It's not good. So you've got to steam that to get rid of some of the starch. That is fresh lemon juice, okay? And I need some water. Water's over here. Okay. Now, yesterday we had what I called my Parmesan, right? Well, I did not have as much nutritional yeast flakes as I normally use in here. But I use nutritional yeast flakes in my Parmesan, right? And I used a little almond flour, and a lot of almond flour, and I use salt, right? So what's that going to do in here? It's going to give me the flavor I need. The fat in the almonds are not going to be bad. And then I am going to take a little tahini. Now, there is a sister here that has a different diet process, and that was probably about a quarter cup, who does not use nutritional yeast flakes and nuts in her program. So she can use this sesame tahini, she can use sunflower seeds as well, and bypass the other, and that tahini and those sunflower seeds are going to give her that taste that she's going to get from nutritional yeast flakes. So. Now, I let mine go a while. I do not just mix it up and let it go because I want it to heat. I never take mine over to the stove and cook it. I don't have to. I don't use cornstarch. I've used arrowroot and cornstarch before, but I don't have to. I've got potatoes in it. So if your potatoes are getting a little hairy, or you need to use some of these vegetables up, put them in your cheese sauce and use them with your cheese sauce. And I can usually tell when it's getting done because I'll see a smoke, a steam that comes up, and I want you to see that. So unfortunately it's loud, but I want you to watch this for a minute. Ah. Yes, the flies are awful. And I will try this periodically. Now, one thing you didn't see me put in was salt. I want to taste it before I add my salt, because remember, the product that I made yesterday had a little salt in it. However, potatoes are like salt sponges. You have to add far more salt to potatoes because they just absorb all that salt. So when you make a recipe, if you over salt it, and you can use a potato in it, you either mash it or steam it, put it in there, and it'll absorb the salt, and it'll help you to even out that flavor. Definitely needs salt. It is starting to get warm. And you're probably thinking, oh, in the past, when we made cheesy sauce without potatoes, we would put over a tablespoon of salt. That's how much salt it takes. We've got fresh vegetables here, and I love the flavor they present for the cheese sauce. You can make other sauces. It doesn't have to be a cheese sauce. Starting to get thicker. Yes. Perfect. I know this is too big, but I'm going to use that. Now you notice I didn't put anything red in but the sweet potato. Had I put the carrots in here, it would have been much brighter in color. I can put some paprika. I did not bring my turmeric, so you could put a little paprika. You could put turmeric in there as well. Don't put too much turmeric or it'll be real, real yellow. And you want that orangey-like yellow that you get when you eat regular cheese. And the color you get from regular cheese does not come from the cow. It comes from a product called annatto. Annatto seed is what they use. Usually they do oil, and they do the annatto seed, and that's where you get your beautiful orange color. I am I needed my cheese sauce to be a little thicker, so that's why I put in additional potatoes. That's it. Most cheese sauces, unless you measure everything precisely, like mash in your potatoes, It's not a one-size-fits-all. You're going to have to use more water. You're going to have to use more potatoes. You're going to have to use more of something. And you're probably sitting there thinking, Melody, shut that thing off. It's driving me crazy. This is a salsa or a rotel. So if you want to make a queso, silence is golden. That's actually a lot of cheesy sauce. Now, depending on how much queso I want, I have made my own salsa, used my own salsa. I have bought store-bought salsa. I have used rotel. Whatever you guys want, use what you want. Who wants to try that real quick? Huh? Come on. Come on, try it. Actually, I'll do it this way for you. He's not scared. And you might say, oh, it needs a little more salt or a little less. Try it and see what you think. Yes. Do you feel? Do you taste the pepper in it at all? A little bit. Well, I bought the original because I thought if I get it too hot, people will complain. But you can spice that up however hot. Does it have any resemblance in its flavor to like a melted cheese sauce? It's better than that. Well, thank you. That was a compliment. Yay! And I am continually stirring. Now, you can take this if you're making it in a large batch. Normally, I do not make this in this large of a batch, but you can put it on cookie sheets and put it in the oven and bake it in the oven as well. When this cooks slow at probably 30 minutes with, trust me, over half of the quantity I've gotten here, when it's done, it's brown, just like burger. And I don't know if it's the color of the walnuts or just the time of the cooking that does that, but that's what happens. Now, I knew I was limited to what I could plug in up here today, and I needed power, so I went ahead and cooked your beans. They are pinto today, and the gentleman who just tried that, I want you to try this, because the other day you said, oh, it needed to go just a little bit longer. And I was very much in agreement with you. It needed to go a little longer. So,
I'm experienced, though.
oh, okay, he's experienced taste tester. So I put a little bit of serrano, a little bit of jalapeno. I put garlic, I put onion, I put smoked paprika, and lots of bay leaf. Remember I said season your beans, so I put that bay leaf in there. Now, you're not going to say a word about these not being cooked enough. And I did them, again, for 30 minutes. That's all I cooked them on, just like I did before. But I soaked them overnight. I rinsed them well, and I soaked them well. I put that lid on there. I let it go. I have not seasoned it anything since I put it in there. It does have salt in it. So how easy is this? And you can freeze all of this. You can make chili out of this when you're done with it tonight. Let's say you put this over beans and rice, or you're going to use the burger, and you're going to use some lettuce and queso. You're going to have like a little Mexican dish. And you've got leftover beans, you've got leftover burger. Well, I can make spaghetti sauce out of this. One of my favorite things to make are stuffed bell peppers. where I used to take rice. I can take quinoa, anything. Take this burger, make my sauce, and surely you've got your sauce already prepared. It's in the freezer, so you just thaw some out. So your marinara, now you've got stuffed bell peppers. I don't let my food work me to death. I work my food. So it comes back and pays me. So I'm not in the kitchen all day long. Now, granted, I've been in the kitchen a lot since I've been here because I'm cooking different. I don't have these things already prepared. But I want to be out there on one of those paddle boats, and I haven't been able to yet. What'd you think of those beans?
Wonderful, and they're good with the cheese.
And they're good with the cheese. Exactly. We want the food to complement the other ingredients. We don't want one ingredient to be so different that it doesn't complement the food. That's where a lot of people struggle with. They'll overcompensate because they think they need that flavor. Just like the cheese sauce we made, I let the vegetables season it mostly. That's what I had in here. Most was the vegetables themselves. Don't throw your celery away. If it's starting to get a little old, cook it or throw it in the freezer. Don't worry about it being all spongy because you're going to put it out and steam it or make vegetable broth. There's many times I'll steam food and you know that beautiful broth is underneath. I will actually blend it with leftover vegetables, put it in my freezer, and now I have a sauce, a pure vegetable sauce. And this stuff at the store's like $3 for a little box of broth. Don't throw it away. You know, the Chinese, the Asian people, they don't throw anything away. They find a use for it. Yes? I have not. That was a brand new recipe yesterday, and honestly, I have never frozen hummus. I have my chickpeas, and I've frozen my aquafaba. I've done that. But hummus in our house is like toilet paper. You just put it out and it's gone. Isn't that the way it works? I'll go in the bathroom and I'll put a brand new roll out and I'll look, where did that go? Do we have somebody stealing our toilet paper? So I think, you know what they're doing now? They don't wrap it tight. They just make it look like there's a lot. Yes, and they charge you more for less. So, no, I don't. I have not tried to freeze it yet. But like I say, nothing lasts in our refrigerator like that I have to throw it away. And I've made a soup, and we're not going to eat it. And I'm thinking, oh, I made too much. I'm going to pour that or put it in freezer bags, and they have the ones for liquid, and I will put it in my freezer or a freezer-safe dish. I have different glass dishes. I could put it in the freezer, and on a day when we're really tired and we've been out and come home, I can pop that out, put it in my steamer, dish and all. I don't have to go to the microwave. I can put it in my steamer and let it go, come out, and it's thawed nice, and we already have a soup made. So we can do that. Any other questions? Yes.
I just wanted to make a suggestion on your comment.
Yes.
2 ingredients I use to make my ricotta cheese for my lasagna. Roasted garlic hummus mixed with 1 block of tofu.
Oh, I'm sure it'd be wonderful.
Nothing else needed in it.
So you just do the tofu and roasted garlic.
Roasted garlic hummus.
Oh, that you buy the hummus, or you make it. Okay. A lot of times I don't buy it that way because of the oils and all that's in it, but it sounds really good. I use a lot of white beans. Instead of even tofu, I'll use white beans like navy beans or cannellini beans, and then add the roasted garlic or whatever I want to it, roll it up with like zucchini and make zucchini rolls. It's hard to tell it's not a cheese in there. So yes, be creative. Use what you have. Try it. You know, some of the best recipes were an accident. A pure accident, yes.
I once had someone make a block of cheese and slice it. Now, I can't get out of my mind. It was the best cheese I've ever had.
Was it a plant-based cheese?
Yeah.
They probably use,
Cashew-based.
yeah, they either use cashew. I like it all. I'm not as picky when it comes to that. We used to use M's kosher gel, and it would set up hard as arithmetic from Japan or something. I mean, it was hard. But the new, what we use now is, can't think of the name of it, agar. And you've really got to work with that to get it to be what you want it to be, to get that consistency of slicing. Okay? So, you know, what they used in their base, I don't know. But they probably, cashews are creamier. And they soak those cashews for a while. Huh? Was real grainy? Okay. So what was the, I'm sorry. Huh? I don't know. Was it real smooth to the tongue like you were getting a fat? No. Okay, it could have been. It could have been a bean. It could have been a grain. Because normally that real smooth, unless they didn't have a high-powered blender, they're not getting the nut smooth enough. I have a lot of people who make cheesy sauce. Even with a Vitamix, they just don't run the Vitamix long enough, and it's grainy. And I like it to be smooth. So that could be the situation too. I did not lick off that. If y'all don't like this, don't eat it. I'll take it. I'm just saying. There's something about that walnut in there. And walnuts are a good fat, right? And what are walnuts good for? For the heart, too. Yes. They're a good heart nut. Yes. I love this stuff. And I don't see my husband. Did he sneak out of here? Did he go take a nap? Oh, no, there he is. He's sitting in the back. You know, it's kind of funny sometimes. I'll do seminars, and he'll be in one area, and then another area, and I'm like, what is he doing? Running. I want to serve this to you, and I'm going to have him help me get this prepared before the flies are even liking the peppermint honey. They love it. So we're going to get this set up here to feed you. And I'm really trying to keep them away from your food. And I can move this over here. Normal, when I do a regular head of cauliflower, I use 1 cup of walnuts. And you've seen what I did. I didn't clean my processor out. There's no need in that. I just dump my walnuts in, let it run, and then I put them inside, right on top. So I usually do 1 cup per just your regular head. I'm not talking about a giant head, I'm talking about a regular head. Because it seems like the cauliflower has shrunk, or my eyes have changed. We're going to put out plates and try to get things set up, honey, to serve. And I think the problem is they're producing it so fast, they don't let it grow large enough. This one I found was at Sam's Club. It was like 3 cauliflowers in one. I'm like, yes, we'll get that one. Now, was it last night? I got tickled at my husband because I could hear him in the kitchen, and I could smell he was making the chips for me. And I mean, there's nothing on these chips. No oil, no salt, no flavor, no nothing. They basically really don't have a whole lot of taste. So it's just nothing but corn. Now you can make crackers or any other kind out of a product that's different, but we like this because we're getting the salt and the flavors in our food, so we don't need added salt here. So you got the forks and all. Do I have another bowl of? Okay. Baked them in the oven for about 20 minutes on 350, 365. No, he buys corn tortillas. Cuts them in 4s, places them on a parchment paper on a cookie sheet, puts them in the oven, 20 minutes at best, depending on your oven. Last night this oven was hot on the bottom, cooler on the top, so we had to rotate them a little bit, so watch your oven. So if there's some a little darker, that's what happened. But normally in a convection oven, it takes about 12 minutes to cook them like that. And we can do big batches of this in big Cambro tubs, and 2, 3, 4 weeks later, and they're as fresh as when we made them. You know why? Because there's no oil to go rancid. Yes? We buy corn tortillas that are already made. So we buy them, and usually there's nothing but organic corn water or corn water and salt. So we usually buy them salt-free. Trader Joe's has my favorite. I love theirs. I make them, but it's hard for me to come here and bring my mozzarella. It's a very fine flour, and then make them and press them out and cook each one. And if you use a fresh tortilla to make a chip, it will not work because there's too much moisture in it. It needs to dry out more first. Yes?
Have you tried doing it in your air fryer at all?
I haven't, just because I want them flat, and I know they'll stick together and they'll break apart whenever they dry out. So that is one of the items we use in the oven, are the chips. But when he makes them, he'll do a big stack of them like you get at Sam's or Costco. And I like the ones at Costco better, but whichever. And he'll make that whole stack, and it takes us a few months to go through it. Yeah, 4 sheet pans is about what it takes. Huh? Usually between 250 and 265. All ovens are different. Elevation has a lot to do with heat in an oven. So that's what we do. We set the timer at right about 18 minutes, and he'll check it. He might have to go and look at it to see. We know our oven, so we know how it works in there. We don't have to do that. Our temperature's even. But if your temperature's not, or you have a convection, you can go 325, but you've got to watch how long it's in there, depending on if your fan's on high or low. Emphasis on parchment paper, yes, because we don't use oil, right? So our parchment paper keeps it from sticking to the pan.
And I usually just, once in a while, I'll open the oven and grab one. If it's soft, you still got to let it go. Just wait till it's crisp, and then maybe a little brown tinge on it, and then you know it's done.
And I must say, yes, he does that quite frequently, because I notice like 40 will go into the oven and 34 will come out. I know what you do, dear. I love it. Busted. I have not tried to bake the flour tortillas, but I've made flour tortillas. So you can do them without oil too. Instead of using oil, I use avocado. I use avocado for a fat when I'm baking for a lot of different things. This I'm going to put on last, so I'm going to keep it right here. This is going to go on first. Give us just a minute, and we're going to feed you guys. Yes, sir. Any other questions? I'm looking at that. You know, I'm just totally blind. Yes.
I just had a thought about the flour tortillas.
Yes.
You can do them, but you bake them at a lower
Lower temperature and slower. That would make sense.
have a higher moisture content.
Yes, that would make good sense. Okay. Do you see how this is already turned a darker brown than what I started with when it was white? If I let it cook for about 10, 15 more minutes in here at least, it would be a nice brown, a burger brown. Either way, it tastes great. Yes, I am allergic to wheat, so it does help to have something in place of it, by all means. I've got a dear friend in North Carolina. His name is Walt Cross. He owns the mustard seed. You can Google that. He is my go-to guy for everything. I mean, I have a direct line to him. It's like, I'm waiting for him one of these days to say, Melody, leave me alone. He never does. That man knows more about health and what we need as far as natural remedies or just things that are more natural. If you tell him what you're struggling with, boom, boom, boom. I wish y'all would invite him to come to one of your camp meetings. You will not be disappointed, but he's very hard to get because he's booked all the time. Walt Cross. In the morning? Yes, he's been working with that. We filmed some programs for him, Mark and I did, for that particular program he's using. But we've been both so busy that Mark, we've got it filmed, we've got it done, but he hasn't been able to edit it yet. But he's amazing. Do you watch him? Do you know who? Oh, he's amazing, isn't he? Have you ever seen a mind so sharp that can answer your question just like that for everything? That's what happens when you eat and have a healthy life. It really is. And the man's gone all the time. I don't know how he does what he does. Plus, he's a fire chief, I think. I think he's the fire chief. And his wife, Mary Lou, years and years ago, she had some heart problems. They put her on a heart medication. This before they changed their diets. He used to be a hospital administrator. And because of their health, that's what led them into plant-based and natural remedies. And she took a medicine that when they found out after so many years, she started having some problems. And they want to do a case study on her because they said, we don't know how you have outlived. You should have died already from the medication you took. It wasn't, when it was on the market and they used it, they didn't realize that most people who took it expired within a certain amount of time. And they did everything they could. They've done blood work, everything, and they just can't understand why she's still living except for her diet. She's the only one that they know that was on a plant-based, whole food plant-based diet that has survived this long. And I think it's been 30, 40 years, that long. And most everybody else has expired because of that medication. He does. He'll sell it. If you ask him questions and he's got it, he'll tell you. You can buy it off of him. He doesn't make you. Or he will send you to Amazon or your local store. He's not out there to make money on you, but he does have what he needs to help people. We buy our AliMed through him. Did you get some? Oh, he just got a new shipment of AliMed. AliMed is a 16-ounce bottle of nothing but pure, highly concentrated allicin. Allicin is what's in garlic. And 1 teaspoon of it a day will run the COVID away. And trust me, you will have breath to prove it. I can take that, and it's like, oh, I have to drink something behind it. It is strong, strong. I think I usually pay $160 a bottle. Try to get it under $300 anywhere. My son called me, hey, Mom, I was looking up about this AliMed stuff. He said, you know, they've got all this COVID and everything's going on at the school. And he said, we were out of town. And he said, Sherry came over and looked in your fridge for something, and because she watered my flowers. And he said, she noticed you had some AliMed in there. And I said, take it home. We're not home. Take it home. He said, well, we already did. He said, so I owe you a bottle, and I want to buy a bottle. And I said, well, you don't owe me a bottle. There couldn't have been a quarter of it left. He said, no, I'll buy you a bottle. And he said, but it's like $340. And I said, no. I said, I can get it for around $160 through Walt. He said, well, here's my credit card. He sent it over to me, and I called Walt and ordered it, and he shipped it. It was there in 3 days. Now my kids every 3 months will buy a new order of AliMed, not because it expires, but because they take it. My daughter-in-law has rheumatoid arthritis, and it's helped a lot changing her diet, but she said, I still have stiffness and things that are bothering me. But she said, when I take that AliMed, my stiffness and that pain, that joint pain goes away. And guys, I don't make a dime. I make zero money off of anything I tell you about. I am not getting kickbacks from anybody. I wish I did. I'd have a bigger car. But I don't. I don't. And you know what? We do just fine because God supplies us all our needs. Our needs. And when we get to heaven, we're not going to want a thing. Can you imagine that? I mean, I'm asking you women, can you imagine not wanting anything? It doesn't compute. Because I'm always wanting something. I'll lay in bed at night trying to figure something I want. If I haven't got a clue, I'll make something up I want. It's just part of our DNA. I do have a couple of these cookbooks left. My husband found them in the back seat of the car for somebody who didn't get them. Please see me. They're $25. If you buy Simply Yummy and the cookbook, it's $40, and my husband throws in one of his CDs, and I know they're not doing CDs hardly anywhere. I wouldn't have bought our car had I have known it didn't have a CD player in it. I didn't look, because our truck did. That's like, what? Huh? The new cars don't have CD players in them, folks. You have to, huh? Yeah, they really don't. We didn't notice it either because everybody uses their iMusic or something, so you just plug it in and it plays through your car.
16 minutes.
Okay. You know what? Let's have prayer, and then we're going to get this ready for you guys to try. Father God in heaven, thank you so much. Thank you for your love. Thank you, Lord, for giving us things in nature, the food that you want us to eat to keep these bodies strong, Father. Whatever you want us to know, whatever we need, Father, to live as healthy as we possibly can in this sinful world, show us, Lord. Open our minds up. Bless this food so it may nourish our bodies, for we want to serve you even better. In Jesus' name I pray and thank you. Amen. Amen. Yes, that can go away.